That's an insult to black Harvard. Harvard, Oxford, Leiden, Cambridge, Yale on one side, every damn university in the whole white world, and then on this side, the Negro College. No. It looked like the same until you look close. My friend Dean Dark from the law school, I'm standing there talking to her after this meeting, right? That was why I was 10 more minutes late. Because I'm like, we're going to miss this unless we have to bust our tail as if we ain't got nothing else to do. How do you capture what goes on at the law school? She said, you know, our bar passage rate has been going up. My colleagues asked me, you teach at Howard? You work at Howard? Yeah. She said, when I worked in a white school, I can't explain the difference. I said, yeah, but that's what our challenge is now, to explain the difference. Because if not, we're going to get explained by something that don't have any idea of what we're doing. She said, yeah, but you know, one thing is clear. In this moment of economic downturn, our students got 2 or 3 job offers. Exactly. You can't compare Howard graduates to graduates from other universities. You just can't do it. He said, here's the other thing. Our bar passage rate, I said, Dean, I know for a fact when I came out of Ohio State, most of my colleagues, most of my black friends that came in with me, there was only 11 of us, didn't pass the bar the first time. I never took the bar. I went straight to graduate school. I don't know what's any more about it. I think you should go be lawyers. I just want to go be fool enough to come here and play with y'all. But at any rate, she said, you know what? When you look at, the ABA doesn't keep statistics on black bar passage rates at white schools. I said, I bet you if you look at the bar passage rate of black students at white schools and compare it to the bar passage rate at Howard, the bar passage rate is higher. She says, I'm sure that's the case. But here's the thing that I know to be the case based on the statistics we do have. What? She said, what they call the eventual bar passage rate at Howard, close to 90%. The national average is 75%, the eventual passage rate. She said, a lot of black students don't pass the bar the first time, but they pass it the second time. A few pass it the third time, but there are very few left to have to pass it the third time. They usually pass it the second time. I said, I'm sure each of them would tell you it's the test, it ain't the student. And she said, you know, it's often the higher performing students who don't pass the first time. I said, I'm sure Carl Steele will tell you there's some stereotype threat involved. Because he would say it's the better performing students, not the poor ones, that often find themselves caught up with trying to represent the whole damn race while they're sitting for the bar, among the other tests. But the point that we were raising and the point we were having a discussion about, the point I was trying to get at, and she absolutely made for me without me having to make it, was this. You got a better chance if you black of passing the bar if you go to Howard if you go somewhere else. So the idea that you can compare Howard with Harvard, that's an insult. What are you after? You have to be a good lawyer? You have to learn how to effectively use your law degree to help transform society, and you have to try to pass the bar, you should probably come to Howard. Because if you go to Harvard, you may end up president of the United States. But you're going to apologize to some white cop because he arrested your friend and didn't have a beer in your backyard. In other words, you're going to be confused. My point. What do you want? I ain't mean Barry. I mean Barack. I'm sorry. Barry, Barack. Barry, right? Right. Barry in here. Right. Until he got to the point where he didn't have to be buried anymore. Which meant what? I got to go to Chicago for that. In other words, I got to be around enough black people so I can be myself. My point again, re-inscribe. My point is, when you deal, well, I'm just playing. You're just trying to fit in, right? Stop trying to fit in. Right, what I'm saying? Except you don't want to be yourself. Except you don't want to be yourself. Which brings me back to the point that I'm making. When you're dealing with your review of literature, one of the gaps you're going to find is whatever the subject you're studying, it probably hasn't been studied, and if it has, it hasn't been studied enough from the perspective you're going to bring. So you know, so y'all had the experience of reading a journal article about something you thought you were interested in, and as you're reading it, you get this, it's not quite, the title was enticing, but this ain't answering the question I want to answer. You got to write that article. When you read enough articles or enough pieces of scholarship and don't find your question answered, you have just identified your research topic. That's why the review of literature is so important. How long should this be? It could be 5 to 7 pages, but I'm going to give y'all a break. The whole thing is going to be 7 to 10. This wolfing? No, what's the new movie? They keep turning the wolves. I just won't let it go with it. Sparkling? Twilight. The vow is lost, you know. I love how old black people reduce the West to absurdity by deliberately mispronouncing the things that the young people tell them. You don't think like we're hearing is that bad, do you? No, but the point they're making is, I don't know why y'all paying attention to that person. Wait, where you back? Yes. This is the thing. You identified the gap by saying that this is what the research says, but the question I asked, the reason I came up with this question, in part was because it wasn't here. I want to know X. The review of literature on X revealed that there wasn't a lot out there on it. So my question came in part because I couldn't find an answer. My methodology is grounded in an approach to how to do this that's going to ask different questions of the subject, my subject of study. My proposed study then, I will follow these steps. This is theoretical. Your proposed study is basically going to be a step-by-step walkthrough. It's the steps. I'll start looking in this place. I'll look in this place. I'll look in this place. What do I expect to find? I expect to find X, Y, Z. You don't know whether you're going to find it or not. Why not? Because it's a research proposal. But you expect that the places you're going to propose to look may yield answers based on what? Where other people look. What your methodology tells you where you should look. My methodology tells me I should look in libraries. My methodology tells me I probably need to listen to some real live people. Or listen to some music. Or look at some art. Or try to observe trends in how these people are talked about in the newspaper. That's how I'm going to go about my study. And these are the things I propose to find. Your work of bibliography is going to tie to your review of literature, because everything you read, you should write 1 to 2 sentences. Very short. By the way, 7 to 10 pages includes this. That's really cheap. That's why this is not double spaced, but single spaced. I mean, I can't just give it all. I think it's 130 people on this roll. Are there 130 people here today? I ain't that. Yes? Yes. Work of bibliography. Book, the Bible. Can you summarize the Bible in 1 sentence? The B-I-B-L-E. And you can't write that's the book for me. No. Write 1 sentence. Can you write 1 sentence on the Bible? This book, damn, I took up 2 words. This book relates a working genealogy of the belief system of the group conventionally known as Christians. It consists of 2 sections, Old and New Testament. The Old Testament derived from classical African foundations interpreted through the Abrahamic lens of Judaism and reinscribed as the Christian narrative near the end. The New Testament represents a break between this Judaic Abrahamic tradition and the intervention of a radical form of anti-statist political movement represented by Jesus Christ and later Saul of Tarsus, known as Paul,